Alright guys, so I just wanted to share a few techniques for the targeted individual. Now these techniques are to avoid some of the satellite weaponry that is being used on targeted individuals, and they seem to work, but you got to keep up and you got to keep changing it up. But I'm going to share what I know right now. So when you are being mobbed in public, they typically stop near you and they'll usually have their phone out. Now, I'm pretty much making this an assumption since I don't see what's on their screen, but after so many experiences and then feeling very dizzy after their techniques, I kind of figured it out. So here it is. So they'll get right up to you and mark the GPS location, and then they quickly get away from you, and shortly after you feel ill. So you want to keep moving around. You don't want to stay still for too long, and especially if you notice that they're doing this. You notice the gang stalker comes up to you, messes with his phone, and then walks away. Get away, because they pretty much just got the GPS, the exact position of where you're standing, roughly, and probably a radius, a very small radius. Then most likely the satellite weaponry hits you. So if you notice, go ahead and just move away. You don't have to go very far. It could be 10 feet, 20 feet, but just get away from where you were standing. That's one way. The other way is in the cars. So when you're driving, you'll get the same thing. You'll get one of those speedy little cars, typically with a paper plate. In my situation, no license plate, so they know that I'm recording, obviously, when I'm in my vehicle. So they'll pull up in front of you after they've sped up erratically, like crazy, then slow down right in front of you for a few seconds, then speed off really quickly. So pretty much they got your speed, how fast you're driving, and the GPS location of their phone. And obviously they just probably aim a couple meters back where it's right above your car. So if that happens, go ahead and either slow down. You want to be at the very least 300 to 500 yards away from that car after he's sped away, and that's either slowing down enough or speeding up with that car. And you don't want to be on his bumper. Obviously you want to stay within the law, and I always shoot for 2 to 3 car lengths, which I feel is pretty safe. It gives you enough time to slow down if you have to, or just get out of that lane, but definitely slow down or speed up. But you do not want to be in that same you do not want to be in that same lane after you notice this. And they can also do this from the rear. So if you're doing the speed limit and someone just rushes right behind you, and they can obviously go around if they need to, but they don't, it works the same way. They use whatever content management system that they have on their phone to mark the GPS of their phone, and pretty much the satellite most likely aims in front of the car. I would say good 12 feet or more, which aims right above your car. So you either need to just go ahead and let that car pass you by going in the passing lane to let him go and let him get ahead. And at that point, you must slow down or speed up. But you do not want to be in that position, because if you notice, these cars, they'll get away right after they lock in the position, because they don't want to get hit by the beam either. So again, just stay within the law. You don't have to break any laws to avert this satellite weaponry that these gang stalkers are using on us. And it helps a lot. I mean, I've avoided many migraines, I think, after applying this technique. Because usually when I get hit, it usually knocks me out for a day. I mean, there's not much I can do. It's in bed all day because of the pain. So the other thing, go ahead and just keep the GPS off on your phone. Only turn it off. Only turn it on when you need it. And if you have internet services that you use, any kind of email or service, go ahead. If they offer the two-step verification, go ahead and use it, because that'll help protect you. And also, once you have that set up, those services notify you when you log in, and they keep record of it. So if someone's logging in from a different state, a different computer other than yours, Apple's pretty good with that. They usually let you know if another device has logged in and things like that. So yeah, if you use two-step verification, that's a good way to protect yourself a little bit. The other thing at home on your wireless router, obviously everyone has it since not a lot of people drop down Cat 5 through the walls anymore. You want to go ahead and turn off your SSID on your wireless router. Once you've done that, go ahead and rename it and change the password. Along with this, you also want to whitelist, again, let me say that again, whitelist your devices to your router. And basically what that does is it won't allow anyone to connect to your wireless service at home unless they are on that list. And so you'll have to enter in the MAC addresses for each device that you will be connecting at home. And this, yeah, it might, bum your friends out when they come over, because you don't want to let them log in, because at this point it's hard to trust anyone. And what's to say that they trade in their phone for a newer phone because they were promised that newer phone, and then they have access to your wireless service again. So whitelist your wireless router at home, and that'll protect you and from anyone basically seeing all the computers or smart devices in your home. The other thing too is that they do plant devices on the cars, and they hide them really well, so everyone gets oil changes, and that is pretty much an open window for them to go ahead and tear apart your dashboard and install these tracking devices. And they're really hard to find. They pretty much put them inside, so they're not just like hidden under the car. And a cheap RF detector will detect it on the lowest sensitivity. I mean, the signal's so hot on these things that it's impossible to hide. So if you can swing for it, go ahead and get a professional service to go ahead and sweep your car. If you are on a budget, there are some devices that you can get. You can do it yourself, but I guess the other thing is, once you realize that it's in there, do you want to remove it? And it's going to require some expertise to find it. But it's there. Definitely an RF detector is not going to go off if there's not a signal there. So yeah, I figured out mine was there. I really didn't want to tear my car apart, but that pretty much sums it up, why they know exactly where I am everywhere I go. I don't even know how I feel anymore, but just some advice with the whole GPS and their satellite weaponry, and my guess on how they use it. Now again, this is just an opinion, it's not a fact. After being on this program for about 4 years now, over 4 years, and the monotony of the gang stalkers, the repetition, it's to the whole world it's just a coincidence. But 4 years worth of it, come on guys, what is a coincidence? So you pick up what these people are doing. It's not in your head, and they just do it over and over. Pay attention to who you have around you too, because they'll say the same thing too, that it's all just a coincidence. But if you ever have a conversation with a police officer, they will tell you that nothing is a coincidence. So who do you trust? Someone that's trained, or the so-called friend that's trying to convince you that it's a coincidence? So do your research. Don't just if you share something, it's all right. They can have an opinion too. It doesn't mean that it has to influence your thoughts. Obviously, being a T.I., you've done a lot of research. We're not making these assumptions. We're trying to figure this shit out, and how to protect ourselves, how to protect the people that we care about if you're still close with your family. So that's the other concern, it's protecting the people that you care about, because they're obviously coming after them too if they can't get to you. So it's a tough one. You're gonna have to hunker down, remind yourself daily that you're a good person. You're smart, you're intelligent, you can think for yourself, you're kind, people do care about you. You know, there's just this small or large group of people that want to convince others that you're not. So stay strong, try your best to do the things you love, and definitely it's a challenge. I'm not going to say it's easy. You just keep trying.